Guess who's finally back to working on reviews? Hell yes! I say this because the one I wrote for Jigen's Gravestone a couple weeks ago, I wrote back in May, so, yeah, I don't really count that as my official return, I suppose. So, what exactly are we gonna do for this actual return to reviews? What do I have? Let's see. Oh, I got it. How about a series that has vampires, comedy, and a bit of otaku mixed in? And it's also probably one that not a lot of people know about. Bloodlad is a 10-episode plus 1 OVA action dark comedy series based on the ongoing manga by Yuki Kodama and published by Kodokawa Shoten, with a North American license by Yen Press. The anime from director Shiji Yuki Miya and Studio Brainspace aired during the summer 2013 season. As of this review, you can find Bloodlad thanks to Viz Media, Anime Limited, and Hanabi, including an English dub thanks to director Kirk Thornton.
The Demon World, a place where it's good to be bad. Werewolves, zombies, and even the abominable snowman fight day and night for the title of territory boss. The vampire Spazz, however, finds the whole thing to be a serious pain. He spends his time watching anime, playing video games, and daydreaming about going to the human world. That all changes when he meets Fuyumi, a human girl who instantly wins Stazz's heart, and who then loses her life to a man-eating plant. Refusing to give up on the girl of his dreams, Spazz travels across the demon and human worlds in search of a way to bring Fuyumi back to life by any bloody means necessary.
If I win, you have to go find the book for me.
And what happens when I win?
I'll give you this girl.
Well, this one doesn't really seem like my type, but if you must insist. Whoa, did she really think my face was that disgusting?
Nah, it's just her way of showing how happy she is.
One of the major points I have to give to the series is its animation, because it is rather colorful. Something that isn't just used in the locales and the setting itself, but it also helps add more to the series' humor. And considering the repertoire that Brainspace has, it's not all that surprising, as they are one of the few studios that tends to experiment and try different styles when creating their properties.
If you've seen Bloodlad, One Week Friends, or even Baccano, you can see a massive difference in animation style between the three alone. While the bright colors and fluid animation sequences of Bloodlad are major standouts, the lighting and even the architecture of the demon world can make for some interesting visuals and give us some great use of framing. Overall, the animation manages to lend itself to the fun and out-of-the-box series really well, making some rather fun references to many other well-known anime, manga, and even video games. I mean, you have Dragon Ball Z and One Piece plainly added into the series just for fun. Meanwhile, the soundtrack manages to complement the series rather well with what I can only describe it as urban meets dramatic. While the more humorous moments of the series bring in the use of more urban sounds, the more serious and dramatic ones bring in something else in order to counteract it, making the soundtrack rather successful.
As for the themes that the series sports, Mayan's Vivid as well as Yuka Nonri's Bloody Holic add just the right amount of fun and energy to the series, with Vivid being my favorite between the two.
May!
No, don't say it!
May!
What's wrong, Fuyumi? You need another drink?
No, it's not that. I was just a little surprised by Stazz's last move.
The story is pretty straightforward and doesn't really try and change the classic supernatural storyline that we've seen time and time again. However, because the series does have so much energy and a lot of humor to it, you don't exactly even notice those overused storylines because you're just strapped in and off on a ride.
But here's where things get a little troublesome. There's a lot of material just mashed into an 11-episode series. In fact, it's safe to say that the first 6 volumes of the manga are the material that is used for the series. With this comes the risk of some source material or details missing from it because, as we all know, it can be really difficult to adapt an ongoing series. However, Bloodlad manages to make this transition rather seamless and doesn't have too much trouble in adapting those early volumes. Because of the high energy and the humor the series has, it helps push the story along and is never stuck in some kind of rut. For the most part. This brings me to the very glaring problem I have with the series. The ending. By the end of the 10-episode series, it stops at a decent point, however, it also leaves a lot of unanswered questions and many plot threads open to a possible second season. You would think that this could be solved with the OVA episode added in, right? No, it's a continuation of the main story, however this also ends in a rather large cutoff where a second season is very, very much needed.
Whether that second season will actually happen is kind of up in the air because there is a great need for more material to adapt before this can happen. But if we were to look at just the anime and not the manga, without a second season, the series kind of lands itself in this void, and as more time passes, it's really hard to say whether a second season will happen.
Quite a lovely room you have.
Characters to me are rather important in any form of media. If you don't have a good story, then you better damn well deliver when it comes to your characters. While Blood Lad does rather well with its story, it delivers on the characters.
While the main cast doesn't show much development throughout the series, it's the personalities that they have that make them much more likable and enjoyable as characters. With Spazz, he's not your typical vampire. In fact, he pushes away his ancestry for a good portion of the series, only caring about manga and anime and video games. Basically, we have our very first otaku vampire. He's also very self-aware of how much he isn't a hero, which is actually a great quality of his and makes much more sense when he doesn't regret anything he's done up through to the end. Belle is fairly similar in that regard, as she does what she does for her own self-interest. However, she does develop a little crush on Spazz during the series. Liz, Stazz's younger sister, is probably the only other character to gain some amount of development, as she starts off hating Spazz to helping him out and tolerating him a bit more. As for Fuyumi, Wolf, and Stazz's older brother Bratz, they really stick to their respective character types, with Fuyumi as the damsel in distress, Wolf as the brawn, and Bratz as the helpful sibling, but always with another reason in mind.
It's possible that these three have some sort of development later on, however, as of right now, we don't exactly have that much to go on. But this is actually one of the few times where I don't mind this, because of the amount of enjoyment I got from the series helped overshadow some of those flaws.
I'm proud of you for giving your word, Spazz. You're wonderful, truly a man among men. But you must be very careful, Spazz, for if you break your pledge, you will die, and you will meet a horribly tragic end.
Yes, I understand.
Don't forget what I told you. Goodbye now.
It's weird, I don't exactly get to talk about dubs produced by Viz Media all that often. Hell, I'm pretty sure this is actually the first time I'm actually talking about one of their dubs. Because, you know, Monster doesn't count, unfortunately. Anyways, the dub here is rather solid.
Johnny Young Bosch makes an appearance as another devious character whose name isn't Isaiah, Bratz, and it's among one of the more different roles I've seen him take on in recent years, and I love it. Ben Diskin, a name you don't exactly see too often, joins the cast as Wolf. While it was one of the weaker performances of the entire cast, this was mostly due to the early adjustment period compared to his respective seiyuu, but once the adjustment occurred, it became one of my favorite performances of the entire dub. Kira Buckland's Belle and Zanthi Huin's Fuyumi were each wonderful in their own way. Buckland nailed the sass and attitude that Belle has, while Huin's timid take on Fuyumi managed to balance out with Spazz and the rest of the cast. Speaking of Spazz, time to bring in my dear old friend who I have such an up and down battle with, Bryce Papenbrook. Well, this one is certainly a pleasant surprise. This is unlike any role I've heard Papenbrook take on, and I absolutely loved every single second of it. The series itself is fun and crazy, so just letting Papenbrook into the booth and having a ball with it really worked, making this role my favorite of both the dub as well as Papenbrook overall. Spazzy Papenbrook is best Papenbrook. Additional performances in this dub can include Sherry Lynn, Patrick Seiss, Wendy Lee, Keith Silverstein, Todd Habercorn under the name Todd Stone, Matthew Mercer, Erica Mendez, and Brian Beacock.
Blood Lad is so full of energy and fun that it's a great marathon if you're just looking for something that's rather bombastic. It not only looks great, but it sports one of my absolute favorite performances from Bryce Papenbrook, which helps a lot considering the guy has been up and down for me a lot lately. The downside, however, is the lack of story when the end comes in. And with no news of a second season coming now or even in the near future, will this be all we get of the series? Who knows? If you're looking for something more spastic and fun, then give this series a go. But if you're more of a stickler for story, you may not be as pleased. My advice, just go with it. It's more fun that way. Next time, I fulfilled my end of a bet. With all the pain and torment that I can handle. Want to check out that review as well as a bunch of other things? Make sure you look at the description below for the full blog page. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel if you're interested in keeping up with all these videos. Until next time, otaku on, my friends.